You went all the way to the top and won, because you did. You are the champion, an equestrian champion in Japan, like for the whole country. For the whole country. And competing, like, especially when you get to the very top of an event or a field or whatever, I imagine that's a pretty heady feeling, like to win first place in something. What is that experience like?
Horseback riding doesn't really discriminate by age.
Mhm.
It's more about your skill and what you can accomplish. When I'm competing and winning these things over older people,
Oh, you must have thought you were it.
right, I was very grateful for my coach to call me out for it, which I again learned about. Okay, yes, accomplishment is important,
Mhm.
but how I deal with that and thinking about how I can improve more is when I'm gonna get better.
So you learned some humility.
Right.
That's awesome, though, to learn that at 17.
Yes.
Like,
It's
there
all
are
worth it.
people who are in their 30s or 40s or 60s and haven't learned that. So that was a great lesson to learn at a young age.
I think so too.
I'm Beth Lesen, Vice President of Student Affairs and Enrollment at Cal State Long Beach, and this is Beach Peeps, a podcast about students, stories, and the interesting things happening on campus and beyond. Hi, Mikey.
Hi, Beth.
How are you?
Really good. How are you?
Really good.
Awesome.
I'm excited to have this conversation.
I'm really
with
excited
you.
too. Thanks for having me.
So I know you, but a lot of people who are watching, I hope a lot of people are watching, a lot of people who are watching won't know who you are. So can you share a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Well, I'm Mikey. I'm currently a fourth year at California State Long Beach. I'm majoring in business information systems, and I'm in my final semester. And I actually came from Tokyo, Japan. And yeah, that's me.
I have separation anxiety about you being in your final semester.
Yeah.
This makes me.
It's very bittersweet.
It is very bittersweet.
I'm excited to go back home, but this is my second home now, so I don't know.
So Tokyo, Japan is where you're from and live now. Like your family's there.
Yes.
You're an international student.
Right.
So I'm going to immediately address the elephant in the room, that you sound like you were born and raised here. How is it that you sound like you are not from another country?
Yeah, I get that a lot. I actually went to an international school my whole life. So from preschool all the way up to high school, I went to international school. All my siblings went there. My mom actually went to the same school, which is why we all went to that international school. And then we always traveled out here in LA or Hawaii or everywhere. So yeah, that's where I got.
So you've been speaking English your whole life.
Right. It's close to my first language, I think.
Got it. And when you leave here,
Mhm.
my understanding is that you already have a job lined up. How do you already, first of all, how'd that happen? How do you already have a job?
So
You're not there. How are you?
right. It was actually really cool. In Boston, every year there's this career forum that's tailored for bilingual Japanese and English students.
Oh, okay.
So I went there last November, actually. And then right there's about 200 companies who's interviewing on the spot.
Nice.
It's like a 3-day event, and the company's goal is to find, bilingual students right there within the 3-day period. So it's like,
Did they offer you a job on the spot?
yes.
Are you kidding me? You went to this fire and they were like, boom, you have a job?
Yes, I got a job in one day. So I have 3 interviews in one day.
Okay, don't hate. I'm so sorry to everyone who's listening. That is very unusual.
No, yeah. That's why it's a very special event.
Yeah.
First year I went freshman year. They told me come back here too early.
Yeah, they weren't willing to hold a job for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but 6 months maybe.
Yes. And then so last year I went back, and then they were very excited. Some recruiters even remembered me. But yeah, I got a job back in Tokyo, starting August, I think.
Doing what? What are you going to be doing?
So I'm going to be working with Bloomberg. I don't know if I can get into the specifics, but I'm going to be
okay.
working with the technical team and with their software and just being assisting in that.
So really using the degree that you got here.
Yes.
Like very much what you studied.
Right. And what's really cool too about Long Beach, I think, is that they also have a program up with Bloomberg with their terminal system and the business or College of Business.
We do.
which
Yeah.
really like kind of sparked my interest as well.
Yeah. The Beach Shops pays for that program.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I looked into. So I was like, oh, that's very interesting. So I'm very excited to go back. And
So for anyone who has no idea what I just said, Beach Shops is the small nonprofit company that runs our food services on campus and our bookstore, and it's revenue generating because people buy things like food and books and stuff, merch from the bookstore, and all of that revenue goes to operating that company, but also some of it goes to things like the Bloomberg terminal
Yes.
in the business department. So these are ways that the things that we purchase, all of us purchase on campus, gets reinvested in the campus. And that program helps students like you
Yes.
to learn how to do the thing that you're going to wind up doing now as a career.
Right. It's very
Amazing.
cool.
See how it all comes full circle. I love that.
Exactly.
So I want to know, you're a high school student in Tokyo.
Mhm.
How do you find Cal State Long Beach? Why did you come here?
I didn't know if I wanted to stay in Japan or move abroad. But when I chose to move abroad, the time limit was kind of short for me to like apply to schools.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was like closing their deadlines and stuff. So I had to like choose a school that really stood out to me. And I think overall the location and the campus and their resources of Long Beach stood out to me, which is why I was like, okay, I definitely need to apply to this school. When I got back application status and stuff, I was like, yep, Long Beach accepted me.
You were just you were sold.
Exactly.
Huh.
It was like,
Good for us.
yeah, I had no debate about it. I knew where I wanted to go. And then, yeah, luckily Long Beach wanted me. I wanted Long Beach. So
Match
it
made in
worked out.
heaven.
Right.
Okay, so you said something about horseback riding. Let's just get there. You're kind of a big deal in Japan. You're like a nationally ranking. You tell the story. I'm not going to be good at this.
Yeah, so back from middle school, I started horseback riding. So one day I talked to one of my coaches or the teachers there saying, hey, I want to start jumping. I want to start competing. And then the coaches were very thrilled about that. So they kind of started training me. And then before you knew it, apparently I had some, skills.
You were good at it.
Exactly.
I mean, doesn't the horse have a little bit to do with it too?
They're also an athlete, of course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I don't want people to get mixed up is that, the horse is everything. There's this like,
No, it's definitely a relationship, right?
it's a partnership,
Yeah.
it's a teammate. So of course the horse is a great resource to the sport, but it's also us as riders who supports them to be able to compete at their level. And like for the horses, we also train them to become better. They're just like athletes. We need to look after their maintenance, their legs, we need to ice them, everything. So there's just a lot
Like
going
ice
on.
packs, the way that the athletes in
Yes.
the pyramid also walk around with like ice packs on their legs.
Yes. The horses are D1 athletes.
They are.
So it's
They
very
are.
interesting.
And you became competitive.
Yes, I became competitive for about 5 years, and then I started competing in the Japan Nationals for 4 years consecutively, junior nationals and just overall nationals.
Uh-huh.
I placed fourth in my first national competition that I competed in.
Yeah.
That kind of just started everything for me. And then, horseback riding is, divided with heights of the jump. So I placed fourth in the 110 centimeters.
Is that high?
Yeah.
How high is that?
I'm not too sure in feet, but
like
that's like this.
like this? I
Yeah.
just did that. I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But that's really real. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like this high. Okay.
Exactly. And then on top of the horse, that would be like the double the height
Yeah.
that you're at.
That sounds really dangerous.
It is actually.
Have you ever hurt yourself?
Fortunately, no.
Oh, good.
I did have a few falls, but I did Aikido back then, so it's like
Oh.
a martial art.
So you learned how to tuck and roll.
Right.
Nice.
So that played a big role.
So my daughter
Mhm.
started to learn Aikido
Oh wow.
when she was little, and she dropped it because in 1 year, all she did was roll. And then she pulled out. So
Yeah.
that's why I know that if you did Aikido,
Right.
you know how to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Aikido is like different from the other martial arts because it's more about self-defense and like,
Yes.
how you absorb that impact that you're not expecting. So
So this was a really
Makes
good
sense.
combination for
Exactly.
you
It
to
was
do
like
horseback riding and Aikido, because you could do this like wild kind of risky thing on a horse. And if it didn't work out, It's okay because you know how to defend your body.
Right. It was a blessing in disguise. I
Yeah.
didn't like Aikido back then, but after I started horseback riding, I was like, this translates over
Worked
here.
pretty well.
Yeah.
And so how long were you doing it before you became like you went all the way to the top and won? Because you did. You are the champion. You were anyway, an equestrian champion in Japan, like for the whole country. For the whole country.
I think, well, I went to Canada a lot because my grandma was living there. Every summer I would horseback ride just a bit. Nothing like competitive, nothing like too advanced. And then I stopped for a bit because my parents didn't want me horseback riding because it's dangerous.
Sure.
So they were kind of like worried. But since my passion was very strong about horseback riding, they were like, okay, let's just see. So I started practicing for about 2 years before I started becoming competitive. And that's a very fast track, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think since I was riding from very young, I think muscle memory and like my balance, everything was already there.
You were just a natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so your first time competing in nationals, you took fourth. When did you get up to number one?
A few competitions after that.
But not that long.
No.
No.
But it was very after I placed fourth, I think every athlete would understand that you hit kind of a slump. So I hit like a very hard slump for a bit. When it's raining, you're not able to ride. You need to think about your horse's health. So everything kind of came after I placed fourth. And then, so I kind of did have a hard time continuing that sport just because it has a big mental and emotional toll.
What made you stick with it? At that point, were you thinking that maybe you would drop it?
Yes, I was thinking about quitting, actually. I did mention to my coach. But I think the reason why I stayed is because I had my own horse at that time.
Yeah.
You can't just quit. You can't just say, oh, I'm not going to go today.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So if it were just like swimming or track, if it was just you, you might have walked away.
Probably.
It was the horse that kept you in it.
Yes.
Huh. So you kind of recommitted yourself and you said, but it wasn't about you.
No.
Which is really interesting.
Yes.
Usually it is. Usually an athlete is in it because they love the sport, but it was for your horse.
Right. Yes.
What's your horse's name?
Untouchable.
Untouchable.
Yes. I didn't name him, but he was already like famous within the horseback riding world in Japan before I became the like partner. So I was like, it's not my job to change his name, change his legacy. So I'm.
He already has a name.
Yeah, and
he has an identity.
Right.
And you refer to yourself as the horse's partner. I just heard you say.
Yes.
Is that like the common language around it?
Yeah, for sure. We all just look at each other as partners. They're our teammate. Don't really want to, put a power imbalance in between. So yeah, we call each other a partner.
That's awesome. Correct me if I'm wrong. That it's a pretty special relationship.
Yes.
That you have with this horse. You must miss your horse very much when you're here.
Actually, when I left Japan to come over here, I think the hardest part was leaving my horse.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Please, I hope your mother isn't listening to this. She probably knows, though.
Yeah, I think so, too. Every time I call her, she knows I'm talking about the horse. So.
Oh, as a mother, though, I'm so sorry. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I'm kidding.
He doesn't compete anymore.
No.
Because you don't compete anymore.
Right.
And is he just going to live with you for the rest of his life?
Yes. So we retired him when I retired competing.
Yeah.
Right now he's in like this retirement home for horses.
Oh my God.
Which is crazy.
I need to know more about this.
Yeah. So.
What? He's in a retirement home for professional horses?
Yes. So.
What does that even mean? Is it just a stable?
Yeah, it's just a stable.
But it's like a nice one?
Yeah, very nice. He's just, grazing grass all day. He has 24 care. We have a camera on him, or the stable has a camera on him 24/7, so I could even see him.
Like on your phone, you can just pull up the video of your horse?
Yep.
Like he's in daycare, like people have in daycare.
Exactly. What I love about like horse riding industry, especially like show jumping and stuff, is the amount of care that goes into the horses. Some people might think otherwise, but
you would. There are some people who would think that it's like exploitative of the animals, but that's not right.
If you're in it, you would know the amount of care that goes into the horses, the amount of time, the amount of like sweat and tears that goes into. Overall, I was in an environment where everyone really cared for the horses.
Mm.
Just like me, just because the horse retired doesn't mean that's the end for them. We provide them a retirement home. We provide them life after competing.
So I can hear how much integrity you have and how much investment you have around the care
hmm
and the well-being of your horse. So obviously getting involved with horseback riding and competing has created a real sense of responsibility
Right.
in you. But what else would you say you got out of um, participating in this sport, but also competing on a national level in something?
You need to learn to read their emotion. Believe it or not, you could just start understanding how they're feeling at that exact time by their ears. If they're mad, if they're, a little anxious.
Did you say by the ears?
Yes.
Okay.
So you could tell everything by their ears and their kind of like body language.
Oh, I bet that's really useful. That's a useful skill for
Right.
you. Do you find that you're able to kind of read people's nonverbals
Yeah.
better? Yeah, you can.
So with the horse, I think I'm more sensitive to like body language and how people act. So just by people like fidgeting and stuff too, I would be like it just picks up right away. So
Fascinating.
I think no matter even if it's a horse or a human being, I think a lot translates.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
That is really interesting. And competing, like, especially when you get to the very top of an event or a field or whatever, um, it's tempting. Like, I imagine that's a pretty heady feeling, like
Yes.
to win first place in something, especially something like for a whole country.
Right.
So what is that experience like?
Definitely, I did have a moment where I had to reflect on how I was acting once that happened. People can get, like ahead of themselves,
Huh?
start thinking that they're the best.
Did you have a moment of that?
Yes, for
You got a little
sure.
coffee?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
My coach called me out for that, which I
Nice.
really appreciate him for doing that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know personally that I was acting like that because I thought I was the best.
You were also pretty young. How old were you?
Right. I think I was still like 17,
Oh
16.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to have that level of achievement at 17 years old, I bet you would fall prey to something like
Right,
that.
right. And since, horseback riding doesn't really discriminate by age,
Mhm.
it's more about your skill and what you can accomplish within what you're given. So, when I'm competing and winning these things over older people.
Oh, you must have thought you were it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You
So
had a
it's
moment,
easy
huh?
to right. So so then I was very grateful for my coach to call me out for it, which I again learned about, okay, yes, accomplishment is important,
Mhm.
but how I deal with that and thinking about how I can improve more is when I'm gonna get better.
So you learned some humility
Right.
the hard way
Yes.
from a coach who knocked you into next Tuesday.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome though to learn that at 17.
Yes. It's
Like there
all
are
worth it.
people who are in their 30s or 40s and
Mm,
or 60s and haven't learned that. So that was a great lesson to learn at a young
I think
age.
so too.
And now you're like the chillest guy. Like you're super humble and just laid back and I would never picture you as being full of yourself.
Really. Yeah.
So you have learned that lesson
Yes.
really well.
Trying to be chill,
Yeah.
zen. Yeah.
So I have some questions for you about um it was right after that. So you're 17 years old, top of the country. You leave the country and you come here like the next year to go to college. You come to Cal State Long Beach. Nobody has any idea who you are. Like, I imagine that you had some level of notoriety in your circles in Japan. And then you come here and you're completely anonymous. No
Right.
one knows anything about you. It's a huge school. What was that like for you?
Honestly, I love that because my school that I went to back then was very small
Mm.
because it was a private school. So everyone knew each other. Everyone knew the ins and outs of everyone, right? And some of my friends also went to the same school as each other. So they kind of just had to stick with that personality and that reputation that they always had. Um,
Interesting.
I, experienced a lot with horseback riding and school and everything. So I kind of wanted to just start fresh, see what I can do from what I've learned so far. And I think by coming to a big school like this, where I know no one.
You got to start over.
Exactly. And that's when I can really try to grow better. I feel like if you're always in the same environment with like your friends and stuff, you kind of just have this mentality of, oh, I need to be the same.
Yeah.
But I think by coming out here, I was able to express or develop my own personality and change. So I think it was, yeah, it was the best choice actually.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So given that, imagine that you're talking to a brand new student who's just coming here for the first time and they don't know anyone, just like you didn't know anyone. And they're maybe a little intimidated or overwhelmed, maybe not quite as enthusiastic about the opportunity to start over and reinvent themselves as you were.
Right.
What kind of advice would you give that person?
Everyone's also scared.
That's good.
You know, because I started hitting the gym too once I came out here. And, you know, the gym is like very intimidating when you first go in. You think everyone's looking at you. But at the end of the day, no one really cares,
Nope.
you know?
They care.
Everyone's like too full of themselves that they think about themselves the whole time. And that's when I started like noticing, oh, like I should just go in there and just start working out however I want. And I think that's the same thing as coming to class and coming to school, that everyone is also trying to blend in, trying to make friends and stuff. So I think just having that mentality of, oh, I'm not the only one who's scared. I'm not the only one who's nervous, but I think I should try and talk to someone. I should be the first one to do something is, I think, the best advice that I can give.
So just do it anyway.
Yes.
Everyone's afraid. Everyone's intimidated.
Right.
Nobody's really watching you because they're all worried about themselves.
Exactly.
So just do it anyway.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
That's what I noticed. So,
Mikey, I'm so glad that we had this conversation because there are all sorts of things about your time writing that I didn't know about.
right.
And I'm also excited for your future, that you have this job waiting for you in Tokyo when you're done here. And we're going to miss you so much. Mikey, thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
And also just thank you for everything that you've done while you're here at this campus.
Of course. It's been great.